What up, infidels? Surprise homecast. Yes, we're back here at my home, doing it, living it up. If you're here from the Kill Tony episode, welcome. This is my podcast, the Dangerous Brown podcast. It's not like I'm still working on it. It's just me talking. So if you enjoyed me, I appreciate that. But if you haven't already, please check out my Instagram. That's where you'll see a lot of my content. I do this thing called breaking news, this thing called special report with Jared Nathan. If you're a big Kill Tony fan, you'll like that, obviously, because Jared is the homie. And then you'll see other content that I do, podcast clips from this. Hopefully, I'm going to be doing some sketches a little bit later on, posting some old sketches on there. Bada bing, bada boom. But yeah, if some of you may have seen the breaking news, you're gay thing already. That kind of went viral for me. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. If you look back, it's not that consistent yet. And I do some episodes with this guy named Truthy, who's a music producer. I will be focusing on more solo podcasts again in the future. And just eventually having a guest on here and there. Like my mom. If you haven't listened to the podcast with my mom, do those. The Dangerous Mom podcast. They are my favorite. She is amazing. So listen to those. And then if you're gonna be in Austin on December 29th, you will see me headlining the Red Room in Cap City. Come to that, of course. And if you're in Austin, November 5th, a solid comedy show with me and Derek Poston will be happening. Be there or be not solid. But good to see y'all. I'm back at my parents' house this week. I had to come back. It was a family thing that I come back for. Everything's fine. But parents, man. Parents be getting older. You know what's crazy? That's the number one thing they be doing. They be getting older, dude. It's wild to see, bro. Cause you remember like your parents as this as these just immensely capable people, and they still are. Don't get me wrong. My parents are both of them are both immensely capable people. But it's like, man, they be getting older. Like, my dad will do things sometimes, and it's like, bro, come on. You're, like, 70 years old. You can't be getting on ladders and stuff. But, it feels like, I don't know. Maybe because I'm still kind of young. I'm 30. I don't really know what it's like to be that age. But it does seem like the older you get, the more you have to, the harder it is to, realize, man, your body has limitations, Like, I don't know, it must suck to be like, damn, I have all these memories of being this young, spry person, but your body is like, you're not. That's, crazy, right? There's, I'm still pretty young, but there's still small signs of my age, Like, recently, or not recently, maybe it's not even that recent, like, a couple years ago now, like, right before the pandemic, I was in a intramural softball league. I think I might have told this story on here before, but I'll tell it again. I was in an intramural softball league, and one of my teammates hit a home run, and I was like, oh, I'll get the ball. I'll just jump the fence and get the ball, right? And so I jumped the fence to get it, and that was fine. And then when I jumped the fence back on the field, the way my knee buckled was like, it was like my body's warning to me, like, hey, man, don't do this again. Just don't do that. You're not as spry and as young as you think you are. Like I held out this time, but next time, a ligament's going to be torn. Just the shake. I've never felt that before. The way my knee shook. I had just been jumping fences my whole life willy-nilly. In fact, I didn't even jump that many fences. But now that I know that I can't really jump fences anymore, it's like, damn, I wish I had jumped more fences when I was younger. I just, of course, and now, of course, when you think about it, like, how many adults do you see jump a fence? It's exclusively a kid thing. But as a kid, you don't think about it, You're like, oh, I'll just be jumping fences ages forever. Jumping fences age forever, Why wouldn't I be? I'm never going to die. So it's like, man, there's just these small things. There's small things to getting older. Like, yeah, Oh, man. The other day I yawned, and then I stretched my back at the same time, and for whatever reason, the two opposite forces made me pull my back and my neck. Like, I felt it in my, like, I had to go lie down for a second because the pain was just so much. I gotta start to go back to yoga again. I haven't gone to, I did yoga consistently for a while, and then, like, I was supposed to go to yoga the Friday, but I had to come back home, deal with the stuff, and then now I'm, going back. So hopefully this week I'll do some yoga. I miss going to hot yoga. That made me feel good, man. But, yeah. It's just like, whoa, dude, getting older is like a thing. That's a thing that's real. Yo, time moves forward. Isn't that crazy? Never once. Time feels I wonder if time feels regrets, or it's just like an automaton. Like, I keep marching forward no matter what. Never look back. I never look back. I'm time. Hashtag no regrets, dude. Hashtag no regrets. It's nuts, dude. It's nuts. Time is mean. It's like, bro, come on. Chill for a second. Everyone should get, like, a pause button for, like, a week. You got, like, 7 days where you can pause and time doesn't move. And you just get to chill and relax and, like, live in stasis. Man. But no, time keeps going forward. People just, your body's just breaking down little by little all the time. Nuts, isn't it? Nuts. Take care of yourselves. I mean, like, even if you take care of yourselves, there's nothing you can do. Eventually, time fucking gets you, dude. It gets you. And that's it. And you have to accept that. It's wild. Wild, man. But yeah, parents, man, they be getting older. And it's like, damn. This is how my parents felt when their parents were getting older? Like a little bit of sense of, like, helplessness? I guess helplessness is not the right word. But, that's the benefit of having, like, 1 million siblings like my parents had. My parents combined have 2 million siblings. They have 1 million each on each side. So, as they get older, they can share the help, and, like, there's 1 million, there's literally 999,999 people to help share the easing of the later life of their parents. But for me, it's just me and my sister. My sister's like 20 years old. So it's like, but we have some time. And by the time my sister and I will really have to think about, like, hey, how do we take care of my parents? She'll be like firmly an adult, which is nice. It's nice that I'm not like an only child and I have to deal with this alone. But yeah, bro, parents be getting older. It's crazy. They don't live forever. Shit's wild. They just don't. I gotta speak to God. I gotta speak to Lifetime's manager about, like, yo, give me, what's going on here? What's going on with you, time? What's going on with you? That you can't relax for a bit. Hold on, just making sure to see I'm recording. I am. That you gotta be like, the grind never stops. 4 a.m. club. I'm time. Always working. Never not stopping. The train to success has 0 stops, or whatever the fuck time talks about. It's like, bro, relax. Smell the roses, time. Stop and smell the roses. But yeah, it just keeps going and going and going and going, and it's oppressive. It's genuinely oppressive. But yeah, usually when I release an episode, which hasn't been consistent now, I've been doing it like Wednesday, Thursday. This will come out maybe Monday night, Tuesday morning. Just because I'm home and I want to release it this week. And, and then next week I'll probably be back to more with a Wednesday, Thursday time schedule. But yeah, just recording just recording this at home. I like, and it's not often I get to have Festus on the podcast, so it's like I gotta make sure every time I come home, I'm able to get him. I'm able to get him on. He likes being on. He's a little attention whore. But yeah, dude, time keeps going and going and going, and it sucks. And so you know what? Time, screw you. No, I don't know. No, it just is. You just have to accept it. Life is crazy, man. Life is actually crazy. Um, but yeah, I my m- you know my mom told me this story about my parents on her side. This is like many years ago. So my mom's parents died a long time ago, and she told me the story about a dream she had, and this is like 2015. I still remember the date. 2016, 2017. In that time, 2017. It's in 2017. So 5 years ago now, and so my mom's parents have been dead for almost 15 years at this point. And she tells me the story she has about like she told me the story she had. She had this dream where she's crossing a river. And if you've listened to my mom on this podcast, you know how strong, smart, and capable she is. She's really an incredible human being. And she's crossing this river in the dream, and she wants to take the next step, but she's scared. And she looks up and she sees her mom and dad. She's 50 at this time. She's like over 50. And she goes, "Mom, Dad, I need your help." And her mom and dad go, "It's okay. You got this. Just keep on taking the next step." And man, that really, really got to me. Cause it's like, I look at her and I see this capable person who's got it all figured out. And even as a 50-year-old woman, super successful, great career, 2 children, beautiful marriage, beautiful family, she still looks up and needs help. She feels like she needs help from her parents sometime. You know? Really puts like damn life into perspective of just like, damn, dude, we're all just always figuring out and making it up as we go along. You never figure it out. You just always have to just try your best. And that's all your parents are. They're just these people who don't know shit like you don't know shit, just figuring it out. And sometimes they're able to give you a bit of knowledge to help you be like, "Hey, you still don't know anything, but like at least you'll know a little bit of less of nothing because we have this nugget of knowledge for you." But yeah, that was a I think about that story all the time when sometimes when like life gets overwhelming and you're like, "Damn, I need help." And it's like, "Oh, okay." You always feel like you need help. Even if from the outside point of view it looks like you have it all figured out. Nah, man. You can't do life alone. There's a great speech by Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you check it online, it's a graduation speech where he talks about Google like YouTube Arnold Schwarzenegger self-made man and about how a self-made man is a conspiracy, not a conspiracy, a myth. It's not true. You don't get to where you are without the help of others, I mean, I would look at where I'm sitting. I wouldn't be here without my parents. My parents are my number one supporters in life. So, and there's something comforting about the fact that like I'm always going to need that I'm always going to feel like the little need of like, man, I need them. I need their guidance. But yeah, and I realized like, oh, you can never pay your parents back for that. That's not how life works. You can't pay that back. You have to pay that forward. That's how you pay your parents back. If they did a good job, which I feel like my parents have definitely done an amazing job, is that you pay it back by giving your kids a chance. That's how you pay your parents back. Because you can't go back. Time doesn't go back. Time only goes forward. So you have to impart that sense of security to another generation of people. That's how you get your parents. That's how you pay your parents back. If they're good. If your parents suck, man, I don't know. I'm sorry. Hey, man, I'm sorry. If your parents suck, man, I'm really sorry. That's sad. And I hope you figured it out, and I hope you're able to break that cycle of trauma going forward. And I hope you're able to be like, no, I'm going to be a good parent to my kid if you decide to have kids, which more and more people are not. I mean, it's October, and it's hot as shit right now. I am cooking right now where I am. So, you know, I get it if you don't want to. But, you know, yeah, it's just, man, just that story of, man, you just, that story of my mom and that dream and of needing her parents' help. It's just like, I don't know. I remember when I heard that story. I remember my mom told that story and I cried. Well, that's because I was just dealing with a lot of stuff at the time, too. I was living in LA in a garage, and I cried. My dad's mom had died. My grandma had just died. That's why I think my mom had telling me this story. Just to be like, man, like, you know, like, it's just your parents, man. It's just your parents are a whole different thing, you know? And I remember I cried because I hadn't really dealt with my grandma's death like that. Really. I wonder if I was in my garage in my house in LA with 17 people, and I just started bawling. And I remember I was just sitting in my room, and Trey Stewart was in my room. Just hanging out, Trey Stewart, just hanging out. And out of nowhere, I just start bawling. That's a real friend, though, dog. It's crazy when a friend sees you cry like that. Because it's like, damn, dude. This shit is hard. But doable. I wonder if Trey remembers that. Maybe I'll ask him one day. That'd be funny if you guys asked him, because Trey's killing it right now. It would be funny if you guys just asked him, hey, remember that one time Hassan just started crying in front of you? Just randomly in his room, in his garage, in the house of 17 people in LA? I wonder if he says he remembers that. I wonder if he remembers that. This is so crazy, and like, he's gone through so much, you know, like everyone's gone through so much life since then. Like, do you remember something like that? Because it's not as big of a story as it is for him, because he didn't receive this like heavy dose of reality for his mom at the time. And it's just like, damn, my guy is just crying randomly. I've never seen, why is this guy crying? It was a lot to deal with. It's wild. I remember that. I remember my grandpa dying the same day the Pope died. It was years ago. I remember that was the exact same time. I'm pretty sure. Or there were like a couple days. Only one Pope's died in my lifetime. One quit, which is crazy. It's crazy that a Pope quit. That's wild. That's wild that a Pope was like, you know what? This direct line to God, somebody else can have it. Why did he quit? That's a good question. I'm going to look at it, because why did the Pope quit? Did the Pope quit because of the scandal of like shuffling the priests around that are, you know, involved in child abuse? Because the new Pope did the exact same thing. It's crazy. Dude, that's wild, bro. A Pope quit. He should have been taken out back and shot. It's like, bro, you can't have a direct connection with God and then, like, give it up. Why did... Hold on, sorry. And then I have okay. Why... Sorry, give me 1 second. I have something to go over with you guys. If you guys are like, well, I see the name of the episode. When are you going to get into that? I'm getting into that in a second. I'm still on my rant. Why did the Pope quit? Jamie, pull it up. I'm Jamie from my own show. Vatican leak scandal. Okay, so here we go. The resignation of Pope Benedict the 16th. He's the 16th Benedict. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy to also have a pope that was named after eggs. So, let's see. To end the Western Schism, he's the first pope to resign voluntarily since Celestine V in 1920. Oh my God, in 1294. Damn. So the last pope to resign was in 1294. Why did he resign? Hold up. Let's see. To return. Oh, he wanted to return to his papal life. He died in prison by his predecessor? No, successor. Damn, that's crazy. God, there was a time when there was popes and anti-popes, like they were pasta, dude. The pope is weird. Remember, I remember one time the pope had like crazy like militarial power. Isn't that nuts? Benedict cited declining health due to old age. Let's see. Post-papacy announcement. Announced his intention to resign in Latin. Let's see. It doesn't see. The service ended with bursting into deafening ovations. That's his last mass. Let's see. Post-papacy. Released a book called If I Did It. Can you imagine? Just his whole post-papacy is about the OJ trial. Also, wasn't it crazy that the Pope at one point was Hitler Youth? We live in wild times, bro. Still has a personal bodyguard. Let's see. Interesting. Why did he quit? Good Lord. It doesn't really say. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I'm looking at the Wikipedia and I'm not finding anything right away, so we're just gonna end Pope. And that's been Pope Talk on the Dangerous Brown podcast. Let's see. That's crazy. Crazy. The Pope just straight up quit. Yeah, how long was he Pope actually? How long was he Pope? Because that's a wild situation. He wasn't Pope for very long, I don't think. Pope Benedict the third. Okay, Pope Benedict, 2005, 7 years. 7 years. Yep, that makes sense. Pope John Paul II. Oh, never mind. The Pope died the same year as my grandpa, but not, way earlier. I think they chose the new Pope when my grandpa died. Hold on, let's see. Papacy began. No, never mind. It's been that long, I've just conflated the two together. Okay. So that was Pope Talk. Good Pope Talk. You know, we haven't had one in a while. So, anyways. The name of this episode I want to do is, we're calling it Historical Virgins. Because I was bored one day, and I was like, let me look up, what are some, like, historical people who, like, famously died virgins? And so I looked up historical virgins, and I have this list of 10 by Elite Daily. So I don't know how good this is. But, you know me. We only look at, we don't delve too hard. It's all surface level because we're real human beings. You know what I mean? We go by headlines. Okay, so, it's just interesting, man. To be famous and die a virgin. It's like, at a certain point, that's a choice, right? All right. So, number 1, we have Andy Warhol. So, I'm going to read the little blurb they've given to you, and then we'll talk about it. Much about Warhol's sexuality and personal life in general was kept private from the public eye. Although he divulged his homosexuality in interviews, he wasn't shy about his own virginity. So, ironically, while having his artwork in your home might get you laid, he himself never indulged himself sexually. That's interesting. That's interesting that an artist would die a virgin, because artists in general tend to be more free, especially with that portion of their life. There's a lot more exploration, we'll put it there. But it's also very artist to be hardline against it, I guess. Like, that's a choice that he made. Because he was a famous person, man. To be a famous person and not get laid, there's a choice being made. Dude, I know so many socially awkward, non-famous people who got laid. So that all the awkwardness in the world, like, can't hold back fame if you really wanted to. Like, you have to make that choice. And it's interesting. Maybe he was just like, I can't, these Campbell's soups have to be printed in different colors. I don't have time for no sex. You know, it's just that right there is just so interesting. That's a choice. That is a choice. Yeah. So, we're going on with more famous historical virgins. That's what we're doing here. Famous historical virgins here on this episode. Number 2, Nikola Tesla. Tesla allegedly died a virgin, but when you're busy pioneering new methods of generating electricity, I guess the idea of sex seems sort of commonplace. While Tesla might have been the greatest inventors of all times, he clearly lacked some inventive pickup lines. Ooh, nice smarminess, Elite Daily. But this is what gets me interested. Tesla allegedly died a virgin. Allegedly. Who was making the accusation? This sounds like Thomas Edison's smear campaign stuff. Oh, that guy? Total virgin. Alternating current? That's for incels. Direct current? That's for chads. That's what it sounds like. The allegedly throws me off a little bit of just like, who's making that accusation? And you know, Edison, did I say Edison? Hopefully I said Edison. It feels like a Thomas Edison smear campaign. It really does. I could have said Jefferson. I don't know. I'm rambling. But it just, and you know how low Edison would go? Apparently Edison would dive into some depths of like mudslinging. He was very famously ruthless against Tesla. So it's like, man, you know? But also, it's not that, you know, Tesla was reclusive, was doing stuff with electricity before anyone was doing it. Like, it could be. It's a very believable accusation. I'll say this. It's more of a believable accusation than if it said Tesla was a pussy hound. I'd be like, I don't think that seems like propaganda from Tesla's direction. But they have Tesla too, and I bet you other lists have Tesla. So I mean, I guess it's not, you know, surprising. But the allegedly there catches me a little off. What's going on? All right, number 3. Number 3 lifelong virgin. Oh, sorry. Number 3 lifelong famous virgin. Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll, author of Alice in Wonderland, was actually a pretty weird dude. No, you don't say. The guy from Alice in Wonderland was a weird guy. Who could have seen that coming? No, I saw Cheshire Cat and was like, that guy's mentally stable. There's a great deal of evidence that surfaced after his death that suggested he had a sexual interest in extremely young girls. Like he enjoyed drawing and photographing children in the nude. Photographing? Alice was based on an 11-year-old who some allege Carroll may have wanted to marry. Thankfully, Carroll was said to have died a virgin, probably for the best. Damn. I was going to say, I didn't know about the photographs. I know about the interest in kids. That's what is very famous about Carroll. And I would say, the fact he didn't act on it kind of makes him a hero, right? Are we ready to have that conversation? Where if he didn't act on it, he's kind of heroic, right? Like, he knows it's bad against society, and he doesn't act, and he denies himself the urge to feel pleasure sexually, which is a crazy urge to deny yourself. And the fact that you're able to do it, there's something heroic about it, because you know it's bad. There's something heroic about it. Am I right? Is this too wrong? Is this too wrong? Well, I mean, he took the photographs. He took the photographs, so he was definitely very, 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 very wrong. I didn't know about the photographs and the drawings. That's, like, extra crazy. And it's like, but he didn't act on it, I guess. You know? Hashtag Carroll was a hero. But it is, like, I wonder if there's any, like, support groups for people like that who have that urge but deny themselves for the good of their own community. Because that would be like, damn. Because you are doing something, but damn, you would probably, there's someone you'd have to be able to talk about it with, right? I don't know. Bro, you ever thank God that you're not born like that? Because that would be rough. That would be rough. So, hey, shout out to all you pedophiles who are able to keep it in their pants. Fucking keep fighting the good fight, fellas. And ladies. Keep fighting the good fight. Sorry, ladies. I didn't mean to be discriminatory. You guys could be pedophiles, too. I know. You're probably better pedophiles than guys, but you guys, All right, number 4. Historical virgin. Joan of Arc. I snickered a little bit when I read that Joan of Arc was actually dubbed the Virgin Warrior. Fire name. Great name. Should be a wrestling name. The Virgin Warrior. A+ nickname. But yeah, Joan of Arc died a virgin, but only as a result of her devout Christian beliefs. Yeah, that's true. You know what's crazy? If she got laid, she probably would have calmed down and not wanted to fight so much, huh? I'm the worst guy. Pedophiles are here, and Joan of Arc just needed some dick. Oh, God, what a crazy... This is... I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, that makes sense. Joan of Arc was a total babe, though. She could have gotten it. Hey, Elite Daily, how do you know that? Maybe she was a warrior and wanted to fight everyone because no one wanted to give it to her. Isn't that also a possibility? That everyone's like, ugh. What if Joan of Arc looked like Shrek? You don't know. You don't know. She could have been ugly. This is what am I fighting for? J. Edgar Hoover, number 5 historical virgin. Yes, this is true. Many believe J. Edgar Hoover, the first director of the FBI, died a virgin. Many also believe J. Hoover was also a closet homosexual. He's posthumously been accused of doing a lot of immoral things while in office, but none of them pertain to acts of sex. You know what? That makes sense. I can see it. He was in. That's the reason why he was in everyone's business, because he just had all this time and pent up, frustrated sexual energy. You know what I mean? I have a theory that a lot of Karens are Karens and up into people's business because they haven't gotten laid in a while. Because if they had, they would have just relaxed a little bit. And I think maybe that's also what's going on with J. Edgar Hoover. That he was so just into everyone invading everyone's privacy because he was just no release, must meddle in everyone's lives. If I have no release, must speak to the manager. I need release. You know what? I'm willing. This is a theory that most Karens haven't gotten laid within the past 3 months. Put that out there. Based off no evidence whatsoever. Based on just that feels right to say. Number 6, Mother Teresa. She was a nun. That makes sense. The Michael Jordan of nuns. That's what she's described as. I think she was involved with the explosion of AIDS in India. So, every nun has a dark side. Behind every nun is a sum. All right? That's the yin and yangs of nuns, dude. Every nun has a dark side. She was against contraception. That led to the explosion of AIDS in India. So, sometimes y'all's white saviors aren't saving jack shit. Number 7, Sir Isaac Newton. That's the most, I think, famous version of all time is Isaac Newton. But he deserves that for creating calculus. For giving us homework, he deserves that. Many accounts claim that Newton has a little interest in sex. That makes sense. If you're inventing calculus, that absolutely makes sense. He definitely lies on the, if someone were to, he was the most asexual sounding out of all of them. And good for him, bro. Gravity, calculus, he did some stuff. He contributed more to the world than you fucking pussy and dick getting motherfuckers. What have you done? Huh? I just spit on you. That would actually turn some of you on. Okay. Queen Elizabeth the first Queen Elizabeth. It said that Queen Elizabeth died a virgin after rejecting every single marriage proposal that came away when she was alive. Good for her. That was she was man, I don't want to marry no cousin, no half brother, because that's who the royal family was marrying. They're all just marrying each other. That's why they look ugly as hell now. That's why they all look ugly as hell. And thank God they're allowed to marry outside their family, with Kate Middleton and oh my God, what's her name? Whoever Prince Harry's Meghan Markle. At least they get to marry hot people now and get some strength back into their gene pool. Like, this next generation of royals will look way less inbred. Thank God for them. But good for her to be like, man, I don't want to marry my family. This is weird, right? Marrying your family. Number 9, Dom Perignon. Well, many of you don't know the name Dom Perignon because of champagne that many might guzzle before getting laid. Dom Perignon, the dude it's named after, was actually a French Benedictine monk who died a virgin. Wow. And he's responsible for so many people so many rappers getting laid, for sure. Bottle service, like Dom Perignon is brought to you in a club in a very scanty. They sell Dom Perignon with sex. That's actually very interesting. That's why I didn't know he was a monk, and he invented just one of the most famous champagne brands. As someone who doesn't drink, I know what Dom Perignon is. I know that for sure. And number 10, Immanuel Kant. Screw that guy. Kant get laid, huh? I don't know. He was like some philosophy guy. Let's see. Many of Immanuel Kant's main principles hinge on the general premise of duty as opposed to seeking personal fulfillment. Huh. And you died a virgin because it's your duty as a human being, if you choose to see it such, to propagate the species, right? If you really cared about duty, but if you really cared about duty, you want to make sure the species keeps going, right? So, way to not practice what you preach, dog. Unless there was a religious aspect to it too, which I guess, let's see. I didn't finish that. I read the duty part and I got mad. It's like, bro, what? You talk about duty and you don't get laid? Rather than seeking, so it's about Kant's personal philosophy lies on focus on the greater good of society rather than seeking individual enjoyment. Kant clearly practiced what he preached. Wow. 2, as he reported, he did not pursue any romantic and sexual relationships during his time on Earth. I guess he just didn't see the societal benefit of getting laid. What? He didn't see the societal benefit of keeping society going? Bullshit, dude. That's out of all the ones I've read, that guy's a pussy. That guy's the pussy. Right? If you get it, I guess being a playboy is for personal enjoyment, but having kids, that's good for society. That's the whole point of society, is to keep society going. I don't buy that. Elite Daily, you're giving Kant a pass. I can't believe you said he practiced what he preached. Get out of here. Get out of here. Man. So yeah, there were your historical virgins, idiots. Why am I mad at you? Man. But yeah. I was just thinking about it because, we live in a time when now this is the most young people aren't having sex, I think, in recent history. So it just got me thinking, historically, who were the virgins? Who were the important virgins? I read another list, and the first historical virgin they had was Adolf Hitler, and I was like, I think you're projecting there. You want him to be a virgin because he was such a bad guy, but he had a wife, right? Right? But I guess if, gay people can have wives, virgins can have wives too, right? Especially when you're, super powerful, you can just be like, you're my wife now. You my wife now, biznitch. That's probably how Adolf Hitler said it. It was, use my bitch. That's how Adolf talked, right? But yeah. Yeah, it just got me thinking, man. There's a lot. Incels are a real thing, and it's interesting to see, they're involved in many right-wing movements. Incels are involved in many right-wing movements. And I'm talking from, Al-Qaeda and, the Taliban offering their men 72 virgins of just hey, you'll get laid if you kill yourself for us, That's a right-wing movement that virgins are used. And then, if you ever see the video of the Patriot Front, and they're practicing their mobilization for war, bro, all dry dicks. All dry dicks. Not a single wet dick in there. Because if you were getting laid, you'd be like, bro, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. These politicians are just everyone in power is just in it for themselves. They don't care about you as the common man. They just want to make them and their billionaire friends richer. Just relax and get some. But if you're not getting laid, you're like, this is Biden's fault, So I get it, dude. Virgins are the power source. for the right wing, like the right wing, the violent right wing. I should say that. Virgins are the power source for violent right wing. Going back from the Taliban to the Patriot Front, my entire life. They're just the AA battery. Yo, if everyone was just getting laid, they'd be like, we need to relax on this. We need to relax on this. But yeah, you know, you see it all the time. What's going on here? I got a text. Boom. Okay. So we're outside, inside out, living la vida loca. But yeah, it's just wild. It's wild to see, you know, and because they're so powerful and there's so many of them, they're gonna be a powerful political force in this country from here on out. That's why they want to legislate women's bodies, because they're like, if I can't have them, I'm gonna force them to have them. I'm gonna force them to have me. That's gonna end up coming, I think. You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm being speculative, but man, I'll say this. I hope when the Christian nationalists take over this country that they'll, like, you know, consider like a few rules of the Bible they aren't considering, you know? Like, I hope they consider, like, hey, no interest rate on loans. That's in there. All debts are forgiven within 7 years. I hope they consider that. You know, I hope they consider other Jesus' teachings, like, you know, he without sin cast the first stone. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Just be kind and love thy neighbor. I hope they consider those when they take over, you know? Who am I kidding? Of course they're not. Oh, man. I've always wanted to do this. I don't think I had the balls to do this, and I think it would be better if it was a white person that did this. But to go to, like, one of those, like, those Christian nationalist rallies and be like, yo, what if there was a book that, you know, in the first chapter there was incest, there was, like, daughters raping their dads, and, like, violence and sodomy. If there was a book like that, would you want to burn it? And if they said yes, just to hand them the Bible and be like, well, do you want to burn it? No way. No, I would say most Christian nationalists have not read the Bible, for sure. There's zero way. Zero way. I think they get to that part of Exodus where they're like, treat foreigners equally to you, and they'd be like, this fucking liberal cuck Bible. Zero way. I am curious though. It's like, what's the plan with illegal immigration? Hold on, let me bring up something real quick because I want to read this. All right. So what's the plan with illegal immigration? What's the plan here? Because obviously you can't just let people in willy-nilly. But obviously we also need them, right? Like, who's going to pick our food? Americans aren't. They aren't. Not for those wages. They're not going to do that work for those wages. So the only other option, here's something I read, interestingly. Okay. So there's, let me see. If we lose workers who are here illegally, it's hard to see how they'll be replaced because Americans are reluctant to take these jobs, particularly the ones harvesting crops. A particularly compelling case study done in North Carolina in 2011 said that year, 489,000 people were unemployed statewide. The North Carolina Growers Association listed 6,500 available jobs. Just 268 of those 489,000 North Carolinas applied. Only 268 applied for those jobs. And 245 were hired, and on the first day of work, 163 people showed up, and a grand total of 7 finished the season. 90% of Mexican workers made it till the end. That is not the harvesting food is not a job that is sustainable to Americans with that level of wage. So there's only 2 options. One is to pay more of those people, which I can't imagine the corporate farms that own these jobs are going to want to do, to pay less than a poverty wage, which is what they want to pay for those jobs. Or we let illegal immigrants do it. So what's the plan? if their plan is to curb illegal immigration, that also has to be combined with a plan to put pressure on these corporations to pay more, right? Because they're not taking jobs. They're filling holes in society that don't want to be plugged by Americans. So what's the plan? And the reality is as things get worse climately, and there's going to be a lot of climately, that's not a word, but either way, as things get worse climate-wise, there's going to be more climate migration. So the borders will have to be tightened up. They just have to be. So what's the plan? How are we going to replace these people if we want to put a full stop to it? That's in North Carolina. I can't imagine what it's like in California and Texas, places where, they probably have more job offerings for illegal immigrants that won't be filled by Americans. What's the plan? Because your plan can't be get Americans to work more. Because that's what a lot of boomers say, like, get Americans to work more. Yeah, but they're making the same wages you were making back in the 70s. You can't expect people to just go for those jobs. You gotta put pressure on them to pay more, but that's not gonna happen. So what's ultimately the plan? I'm just curious. I have no solutions. I'm just curious as to what the plan is gonna be. But if there's any Christian nationalists, listening to this, just remember, like, when you have power, you can't just be punitive. Because that's what they're running on. They're running on a punitive platform of punishing the people who are against them. But once it's like the Taliban. When the Taliban took over Afghanistan, they're like, wait, what are we going to do? How are we going to actually, run a nation? You have to build. There's a lot of stuff in America that our infrastructure is rotting. And you know what's not going to make it better? Punishing people randomly. But, hopefully I can get to the point career-wise where I can survive whatever the Christian nationalists are going to want. You know what I mean? Hopefully I make it to that level, in that zone. That's like, damn, he's one of the brown guys we need. He's one of the good ones. That's what has been said about me my entire career, and I'm going to need to bank on that soon, I think. So we'll see. Change the name of this podcast to the Docile Brown Podcast. I'm just docile and brown. Tell me what to do, captains. But yeah. Now this was the famous historical virgins. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys soon. I'll record it sometime next week. You'll see. Probably just another solo episode. But infidels, I love you guys. If you're new here, I love you. Thanks for checking this out. Again, follow me on my Instagram. That's where most of my content is and is going to be. I'm going to put more stand-up clips on there as well. So just let me know. And that's where you should go. Infidels, I love you guys. See you soon. Peace in the Middle East. Later, dogs.